I'm just going to invite to the stage a gentleman who you do all know, Mr. John Breckin and Mr. Scott Thorpe. So, John, Scott, if you want to join me on stage.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. What a great turnout. We put this together, can you believe it, 19 days ago. We've had 2 weekends in that, and we've had a school holiday. So, thank you for coming. We've had a great response from everyone. I'd like to say a few thanks. Thank you to Rotherham United and Elios. Thank you for putting this on. I'd like to thank Tony Stewart, the chairman, the mayor, Roxanne, Trish Reid, Rotherham Council. Thanks for coming on board. I'd like to thank Scott, obviously, from TMG, and Nick from TMG, and everyone at TMG, because TMG, what a job you've done putting this on. You can't believe it, the paint is still wet. There's going to be a lot of others. I've just got a personal thank you to Jeanette. Thanks, Jeanette. You have been a diamond. You've guided us through this. You've been with us the 19 days. And we love you to bits. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Oh, yeah, cheers, John. So I just wanted to run everyone through a quick agenda while I surf this board here. We're going to kick off with sort of a welcome and introduction as to ultimately why we've gathered you all here today, between myself, John and Scott. We're then going to ultimately, Phil's very, very kindly join us, Phill Smith, who's going to say a couple of words and probably just go into a bit more detail around Q&A and what we can do around business and community and where this idea and brainchild's come from. We're then going to talk about how this is going to impact various charities across the town, which is the real key message we want to get out today. There's a number of ideas. We're going to go into sort of how we're going to do that, and David's going to join us on stage to have a discussion about just one of the ideas and what we're going to put together and what we're going to go forward with. Then we're going to have a bit of an open discussion between everybody in the room, because that's why we've gathered you all here today for what we've called the initial discussion, because this is currently an idea in its embryonic stage. So what we need to do is we need commitment and involvement from each and every one of you in here, which John's already thanked you for, but your involvement in that session is crucial. And then we're going to close and hopefully have a bit of go on after that. So without further ado, I'll pass back over to Scott and John to talk through the idea.
Well, first of all, right, I was at the TMG award night. Now you can picture this, you've all been at one. So we've done this little bit, it's been a great night, and I'm on the top table with Scott and Nick, 2 bottles of wine. We're all in a good mood, and it was a great idea. Yeah, we're talking about how proud we are about Rotherham and about, the places around Rotherham. And Scott, mentioned my playing career, which thank you, Scott. And, so as the night went on, it sounded better and better, and we said, yeah, we'll have a Rotherham Day. Yeah, we ought to have one. Let's be proud of the place and let's try and get the community together and everything. So I said, yeah, that's great. So got home that night, got to bed. 3 o'clock in the morning, went for my second pee. And I thought, wow, that were a good idea, but he'll not phone me, Scott, he'll have forgot. Now, anybody that doesn't know Scott, 8 o'clock in the morning, the phone goes, oh, who's that, Scott? What do you think? What do you think to the idea? We'll have a meeting. Now, everybody at TMG has told me that Scott, he wants everything done yesterday. And now I know why my dad used to say to me, son, Rome weren't built in a day. But if Rotherham lads and lasses had been on it, it would have been. So now I know where that comes from there.
Is that in your little book of...
That's in the little book that I keep. You've seen that, and there's some great sayings. But I'm going to pass you on to Scott, because he's so passionate, and Nick, and we all are. That's why you're all here. But can I just say, I've said all the thank yous, but you're the most important people, because you're going to go away from here, and we're going to multiply and multiply. We're going to paint the town red. On the 18th of September, we're going to light the Churchill red. We're not going to stop with this. So let's get behind this. I did forget one thing. Up the Millers! So I'll let Scott now come in, and then I'll chip in.
First of all, it's a massive pride that everyone's turned up today. Like John said, this has been done on the back of 2 weeks' notice. I floated this idea last year that we're never as proud as Rotherham as we should be. And when we were talking, we all said, when we go on holiday, or when we meet someone and we say to someone, or they say to us, where are you from? What do you all say to them? Yeah, Sheffield. Oh, yeah. Or they'll come and go, where's Rotherham? Where's Rotherham? And there'll be a negative bit about it or something like that. We can only change that script if we change it ourselves. So we have to be proud of where we're from. And if we do that, that goes to our children, grandchildren, whoever it is. But it starts in this room, and it starts with all of us talking about Rotherham in a better way. And I'm as guilty as everyone else of talking Rotherham down. And I think today's about talking Rotherham up. And if we were talking sport in terms, because the Titans are over there, Rotherham's here, we've got the Rotherham Ladies, we've got the hockey club. When our sports teams do well, the town lifts. Everyone gets better. We all go into work with a bit of a buzz about it. And we need to start thinking about not just here at the football club, the hockey, the ladies team, the Titans. We need to start being proud of what you're all about, because you all do wonderful stuff. And we need to get you into the schools and get the kids wanting to learn about you. Even if we took a Rotherham Ladies player into a school, I can guarantee that would make a load of school children's day. They would look up to that person. They'd want to be them. We have successful people all over Rotherham, and we don't shout enough about it. Thankfully, Phil's coming on, who sold a massive business, and we need to look at the people in our town and actually start talking people up and start going, right, where are we going? We've done this well, we've done that well. As a council and as a town and everything else, there's been lots of good projects what we've done. We've got the Children's Capital of Culture, what we'll go on and talk about. We've got the Rotherham show every year, what gets bigger and better and better. We've had the women's football here, the Euros, we've had all the town, all football related. But we don't bring it together as a collective. So we're doing all these great things here, there and everywhere. And obviously all you different charities all do wonderful things, but no one's pulling it together. So the idea behind the Rotherham Day is pulling everything what we've got and being proud of it. And the very basic thing what we wanted to start with just Rotherham Day. We'll just have all the kids at school wearing red. Like Children in Need, but Rotherham. But just being proud of Rotherham. And we've already passed that with what David will talk about in a bit. We've already got there. So for me, this isn't about us three on stage or anyone else. This is all about you lot going, right, on this day, what do you want to do? If you're in a care home, can we have tea and cakes and we can talk about what Rotherham used to be like in the olden days? Can we get the schools to go into the care homes and make the people in the care homes stay? Can we get successful business people to go into local schools and give them talks? So it's not about what ideas we've got lots, but it's about what will make you proud of Rotherham, and then we can carry it on. And then we can build a legacy year after year after year, and we get bigger and better at it. And it's all about keeping a circle. So when we talk about the charities, the council, the hospital, if you all employ local people, then the local people will then employ apprentices from the college and things like that. And then they will buy local food, and that'll support local business, and that money goes back into the council, and it's all a revolving circle. We need to bring that circle back around Rotherham, and it should be Rotherham first.
I agree. I mean, I'm so proud. I mean, the older generation, I just go around Rotherham. I mean, you know, we've got Keppel's Common, we've got Wentworth Woodhouse, we've got Thriver Country Park, walked around it yesterday. What a lovely day I had there, or afternoon. And then you've got Roach Abbey, the history to it. Then you come into the grammar school. You've got Boston Castle. We've got the Chapel on the Bridge. I think there's, somebody will say I'm wrong here, but there's only 3 in the country. So we've got that. We've got the Minster. It's about the history of the town, built on steel, built on coal, and the youngsters, and like you've said, it's a non-uniform day, fantastic. And Dave's going to talk about the junior schools or the infants, which we had the reindeer run. Just a simple idea this year raised, came up for £50,000 for the hospice. So, and this is what you're about. We're not going to say, we want you to do that, you to do that, you go away from here. If it's a tea party and you're just wearing red scarves, we're going to paint the town red. As I said, the church is going to be lit up. So yeah, you go away, spread the word, it's going to happen. And that's what we're going to do. Even if it's a ribbon on your car driving round, we're going to have a Tamla Motown night. Anybody that wants to come, any of you Adam and Evers. We're going to be at Wickersley Club. Carl's going to be putting that on at Wickersley Club. They've said, yeah, they're going to be red, but you've got to wear red that night. But yeah, it'll be a great night, that. So it's not just the day as well, it might go into the weekend. Ideas that we're going to come up with, we might have a park run, Clifton Park. I missed that out. We've got the museum, Clifton Park, the history to it. So it's being proud of it and telling the youngsters, and like you said, I'll not be here, but let's hope it's going in 20, 30 years. And that's what we're trying to do here today, Scott.
Yeah, it's all about a legacy, and it's your legacy, it's not our legacy. So it is all about you and what you want it to be. And you're all in this room, so if we all look back in 10, 15 years, you were in the meeting where we started discussing it day one, and then your kids and your grandkids or whatever it is will be like, I was there when that happened. I would love one day, I'd probably hate it as well, in 3 years' time, if you worked in Rotherham, the employees gave you that day off. And then Rotherham's on the map for something, and we need to put Rotherham on the map for good things. And this is what it's all about, just thinking of ideas. This is an idea, and 2 weeks later we've done it. The world is full of good ideas, but constantly going, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next month. We had a million excuses to put this off today. With the holidays, we didn't have enough time. Look what we've done, and that shows the pride in this room, but you've all gone, do what? I want to be there, I want to see what it's about. I mean, you can take it away and multiply it, and we can get more people involved in it. And when we're talking about local businesses, BSB and Brett have sorted our prints out. And again, that's about buying local again. So we just want to keep everything local, 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 and just be proud of it. Proud of where we come from, proud of what we're doing. But again, like I said, it starts from us. If we're not proud of it, then how do we expect other people to be proud of where we're from?
I think in summary, it's just very much about how we bring schools, colleges, businesses, charity and community together as one. And that will culminate hopefully in Rotherham Day to begin with, but then it's how it grows arms and legs and progresses from there. So, it's like you said, the more we reinvest in the town, the more regeneration takes place. Ultimately, the more money that goes in and around local businesses, local companies, local people, and it's about just showing pride in that. And I think ultimately this is the idea in its very, very early stages. But what it becomes one day around, it's a complete festival of Rotherham, or what we want it to become, is for every single person in this room to sort of stand together and go, I'll make a pledge and I'll do that. At that point, I'd love to introduce Phill to the stage to come and have a quick chat around sort of himself and his business and ultimately a little bit around Rotherham and where he's from. I think to start, Phill, it's more around, you yourself, a bit of your history and your background,
yep.
The fact that you are from Kimworth and a proud Rotherham man, and ultimately what you've gone on and done, and how you see a day like Rotherham Day sort of fitting in and where you think there can be cross sort of pollination between business and community.
So I was born and bred in Kimworth. So anybody who doesn't know, that is the centre of the universe on any map that actually matters. So I grew up, I was born in 68, grew up through the 70s, 80s at school. Obviously went to Kimicom in my education days, TRC to do my A-levels and things like that. And I've got to tell you, in that time, life was absolutely fantastic. So I came and watched the Millers on a Saturday with the family. Education was good, played for the school football team. But there's a little bit of a negative. So there were probably 4 kids out of my school year who did anything academically. Now, Kimmy wasn't known for its academics, but if you had the will, you could do it. And luckily, me and my older brother were 2 who did, because I had a steelworking dad who worked at TRM, if anybody knows that, over in Tinsley. And he was adamant that we would have an education to go on and do well in life, whilst being grounded that we're Rotherham lads, and we need to remember that. And I say that for a purpose, because I'll come back to schools, I'm sure, in this bit of Q&A. But ultimately, I wanted to succeed. But I wanted to stay in Rotherham, and that turned into coming back to Rotherham, because I did have some ambition as well, career-wise. So I went off to university, and I went to Leicester to study and did an engineering degree. But that set me off going, and what was instilled in me by my parents, by some great teachers I had, to be honest, coming through, was ambition and no barrier. So no one ever said to me, and I never felt it, that you're a kid from Rotherham, you can't get anywhere. When I graduated, I got a number of job offers, and there were two leaders. So number one was Marks and Spencer's. So they offered me a job on their graduate scheme, and they wanted me enough to say you can be based out of Meadowhall, and you don't have to move around the country, which was a big thing. So right on my doorstep, good job, great employer. And the other one was a Prudential. You'll have heard of them as well, big insurance company and asset manager. And they said, we're going to pay you less than Marks and Sparks. You've got to come to London that you can't afford to live in, but we're going to send you abroad at some point. And it'll be exciting. So high stakes, and I'm just like little fish from Kimmy going, can I survive in the city of London working in financial services? And I went, sorry, of course I can. And dove in, went that route. And off the back of that, I had a 20-year corporate career where I lived in Hong Kong for 5 years. I lived in Paris for a little while, a couple of years in New York, and worked for 5 of the world's biggest companies, and very quickly got to the senior end of them. And obviously got paid a lot of money doing all of that and did a lot of great things. But I never lost my Rotherham roots. My first ever main board meeting at Barclays PLC, and I had somebody from Barclaycard talking crap, crudely, about my division. And my Rotherhamness kicked in. And I literally said in a Barclays board meeting, I said, now then, Siddy, I'm from Rotherham and you're talking absolute crap. And just the authenticity of being from Rotherham came right out. Very, very direct, but very authentic and very honest. But I got to 45, I've got a couple of daughters. My eldest one was 16 at that point. She was about to do her GCSEs. And I've been a bit of an absent dad because I was travelling the world doing all this stuff. Thought, right, I'm going to pack in, I'm going to retire at 45, I've got enough money, that'll be fun. Little did I know that 16-year-old girls don't want dad hanging on their shoulder every 5 minutes. And it took me about a month to work that out, and I thought, well, I better do something else here. Started this little business called Embark, and that for me was a roaring success. So we started literally with a blank sheet of paper and no money. 7 years later, I had £42.7 billion of client savings. I had 700,000 savings clients. We had 150 knocking on million revenue. Absolutely fantastic. And when I sold the company to Lloyds Banking Group now 3.5 years back, they gave me a big check. They gave me £400 million for the company. The proudest part of my career, by far, was I had 25 people in my company under the age of 35 who got a check for over £1 million the day we sold. And that blew away anything I've. That's what I'm about, is how do you create the flywheel? So I'm like, what can I do at this part of my life? I'm in my late 50s. I've got a bit more time on my hands. Still got bags of energy. And the tractor beam for me was, come back here. Let's get involved in Rotherham United. Let's help with sponsorship for them. Let's get involved in the hospice. But that's the attraction was, well, look, I'm proud of Rotherham. I'm proud of where I come from. Never been shy of it. When I've met people all around the world and they say, where do you come from? And I've said, I come from Kimberworth. That's in a place called Rotherham. And it's a cracking town with a great football team. And that's been my mantra. So I'm here to put my money where my mouth is and help raise money, use my own money where need be. But more than anything else is to take away what Nick and Scott and Brett brought here is, let me tell you, passion and belief trumps money every day of the week when you want to get something done.
I think just coming back and reflecting on your time, ultimately all your business experience and relating it specifically to Rotherham Day, how do you think we should promote Rotherham sort of honestly, recognising the challenges that the towns have, but ultimately, like you said, the belief and the backing, how do you think we should go about it?
Right, 2 bookends this, because I don't want to get in the middle bit. So we need to bring in big brands, national brands, to be a part of it. We've got to work hard, flood them to come in and be visible and sponsor and associate themselves with the town. That's your positive angle. The second angle you've got to guard against with that is you don't want to be selling them to do that as whether we're a charity case. And that flywheel will go. You get 2 or 3 major national brands, next year you'll get 5 or 6, next year you get 10 or 15. Kick that through, because that's how you get your flywheel, right? And the bit here, one of the things I'd have, it's not in your card, but I would have, is media. Social media costs next to nothing, and it's very easy to get loud, proud and visible off a bit of effort. we can do a lot more to sell all the great things we have about the place. And I think that's where we go. I love the schools angle, because that will get people engaged and involved, and that's your lifeblood, right? And give them, put at the centre of that for school kids, ambition rather than acceptance of defeat.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
I hope so.
I thought I deserved a round of applause, Phil, to be fair. That was absolutely. I suppose, do you think that we under-leverage the quality of businesses that are already here?
Yes, for sure. Well, look at the heritage of what we were. We were the world's leading industrial base, and I'm combining us with Sheffield. I'm living in Hong Kong in the 90s, and they built a massive big suspension bridge going out from the new airport into the island, and all the steel rope came from TRM. So little old Rotherham produced things like that. Look at AES Seal, who sponsor the stadium. The amazing stuff they do globally. We've got plenty of case studies of excellence in this town, without a doubt, and we need to shout about it more. We've got to get a bit more real about where we focus fiscal value and money to promote the business centricity of the country and Rotherham within that. Be innovative and don't be scared of doing the same, not doing the same thing, I should say.
Do you think a well-run annual event could prove that ultimately Rotherham is investable and organised and almost put us on the national map to help do that?
Directly, no. Right? So
Yeah.
to be blunt, no. But what it will do, it should, if it's effective, garner the energy of the people of the town to push and be more ambitious. And that's what I put right at the nucleus of it, is that we have the passion to do things differently.
What do you think would make a Rotherham Day credible rather than just a symbol and a day and a, for want of a better way of putting it, a fancy banner?
I think you just want enough people with enough energy, and you've got that already. As a starting base, it's fabulous turnout for people who are willing to be committed. Just make sure that some people who can actually communicate it out there effectively are involved and pushing it, and then it'll take off with its own natural energy, I think.
5 years down the line, what do you think this could look like?
I think in terms of energy and belief, people will be looking forward to Rotherham Day like it's an FA Cup final, because it's an event, and it's an event that people are engaged with, and then it'll really multiply. But the underlying stuff of that is that the projection of pride outside the boundaries of Rotherham are working.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you for
No
your
worries.
time.
Thanks,
That
everybody.
was fantastic. Thank you for joining us, Phil. The initial idea is that we're in essence going to work alongside the community and collaborate with a number of ultimately key charity partners initially to fundraise and raise money for. And I'd like at this point to invite some people from those charities on stage. So if I could have Michelle, Hannah and Ruth to join me from the hospice, from Bluebell Wood and from Rotherham Hospital and Community Charity. I think probably to context this, so initially what we've said is we're going to partner with 3 key charities with an ambition to ultimately fundraise for those 3 at the start, split the proceeds in 4 directions, and then ultimately have a pot which is TBC. I suppose firstly, do you just want to quickly outline sort of who you are and what your charities are about?
So obviously I'm Hannah, I'm from Bluebell Wood Children's Hospice, and essentially we are Rotherham's Children's Hospice. We are the only children's hospice for the whole of South Yorkshire, but any child that has a life-limiting or life-shortening condition from Rotherham is looked after by us, essentially.
Right, my name's Ruth, and I'm pretty sure I'll have tackled most of you at some point for fundraising or signed you up to a skydive. So obviously I'm from Rotherham Hospice. I'm here with our team. Rotherham Hospice is all about community. The community started the hospice 30 years ago. We're 30 years old this year. We need 10.2 million to keep this hospice running for that. We supported 2,100 people last year. I'm sure that many of you will know someone who has been to the hospice. Wherever we go, someone is always telling the story of how they've been supported by us. We could not do it, like any of these charities, without every single person in this room that raises money, that jumps out of the plane, that holds a bake sale, that turns up in the rain to marshal at an event. We are super grateful. We are super proud to be Rotherham on Rotherham Day. As a Rotherham lass, I couldn't be prouder, and I do tell people I'm from Rotherham and I'm on holiday, and I shout it loud and proud. So thank you everyone, and we're looking forward to being an amazing community.
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle. So Rotherham Hospital and Community Charities supports Rotherham Hospital and the Trust We support all patients and over 5,000 staff within the hospital as well, with things such as we've just raised £160,000 to revamp our neonatal site, which I personally have experienced as was phenomenal, and we currently have a dementia appeal ongoing as well. If anyone wants to know more about our dementia appeal, there's booklets at the back, and you're welcome to come and speak to me after. Thank you.
I suppose a couple of key questions then. I don't know what's to pick this up first. What are the some of the pressures that you're currently facing?
Well, there are so many fantastic charities out there, and everyone needs people's help, and it's important for anyone to support the charity that means something to them. So everyone will be touched by a different charity at a different time, and it's just working together that makes sure that that everyone receives support where they need it. We all do different things. There are so many charities within the room, and it's just harnessing people's support. Not everyone will have been to the hospice. Not everyone will have. Thankfully, not everyone will need children's hospice, but we still need the support. Rotherham hospitals, there's all different ways that we need support, and there is something for everyone to do that for us. And that's the biggest challenge, is getting that message out there and how people can support us.
Yeah, I think for us at Bluebell, everyone assumes that we're Sheffield based. We're not. We're from Dinnington. As a Dinnington lass, born and bred, we're in Dinnington. People don't associate Rotherham with us, but the majority of our families now are from Rotherham. So we face that battle of you're Sheffield. We're not at all. We might have got a Sheffield postcode, but we're definitely not Sheffield. And again, like Ruth said, there's so many charities, really good causes out there. Everyone has their own personal connection to a charity, but just being able to spread that word that we are all here. And what a lot of people don't realise is that us three as charities work really closely together. A lot of the families that we support benefit from the hospital, and then a lot of the families that we also support might end up being supported by Rotherham Hospice at some point as the children become adults. So it's just that working a lot closer together, I think, from the Bluebell side of that we are here, we are Rotherham, and we do want to be part of this.
I think for us, having the NHS banner above us is a huge blocker for a lot of our fundraising. So people think because we are part of the NHS, we're funded by the NHS. I don't know if anyone's been to a hospital recently. The funding isn't great within hospitals at the moment, and the things we do fund are things that money just aren't there for, but it's things that really do impact our patients. So one of the main things I've learned in my 4 weeks there is we have a purple butterfly room, which is on one of our wards, and it's for people that are at end of life. It's a room where they can go with their families at the end of their life. It's got every facility in there, from showering, cooking, and it just means you don't have to leave your family member to go home and do what you need to do. You can stay with them, feel comfortable, and have that safe space to say goodbye properly. And that's something that we fund, that the NHS wouldn't be able to fund without our help.
I suppose moving it on then to sort of the impact on local businesses have with you. How does local business growth and the relationships you build impact your sustainability?
Obviously for us, local businesses, I'll shout out MTL. MTL have provided massive amounts of support for us in terms of their apprentices made our feathers. Last year they were on display at Wentworth House. It raised us £50,000. They're making them again for us this year for another display. Scott and TNG are strong supporters of us. In fact, we are super lucky, and I need to shout out to Mr. Rotherham himself, John Brecken, who is our leading ambassador and started the Midnight Walk for us 16 years ago. But also on board now we've got Scott and we've got Phill, and we've got Jamie Shaw from MTL, and soon to be in the room, soon to be announced, another ambassador coming on board, who are flying the flag for us and doing work behind the scenes with businesses that as a hospice and as a charity we can't do. So to have business involvement with any charity is a huge impact, and you can do things for us that we as a charity couldn't do.
Yeah, same basically. So our biggest campaigns are Christmas tree recycling. We're on year 5 now. And Beats and Clark have been our sponsors for that for the past 4 years. This year we've raised just shy of 50 grand, which for our team at the minute was a massive win, but we couldn't run that campaign without Beats and Clark and the backing that Rotherham business gives us. So they are a massive vital supporter to that, and it's that local business, local people that work for it that spread the word for our flagship campaign at the minute.
Yeah, exactly the same, just echoing what you guys have already said. Businesses are at the heart of our charity. We work together in conjunction around events, but also we can benefit the business as well with corporate volunteering days, things like that. But it really is important to sort of work as a collaborative across Rotherham with you guys and with businesses to ensure that we're all maximising what's out there and making the most of what we can do together, really.
I suppose, building from that, what difference is there between sort of the one-off fundraising and the sustained, long-term partnerships you build with businesses?
Both are phenomenal. Any fundraising is amazing, whether it is one-off or long-term. Long-term fundraising, whether that's sponsorship or gifting kind, can mean that we can do things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do. We can plan events because we know the sponsor's going to be there year on year and not have to go out and find it again. But same goes, one-off donation can make a real impact to a campaign we're running, whether that be the dementia appeal or whether it be something else. So realistically, it's great to have both. It's wonderful to have a mix of everything for us.
Yeah, I think longevity of partnerships is massive for charities. We always say that the first year is the year that you get to know each other, you get to know the business, you get to know the charity values, and it always, by the time you get to the end of that year, you're like, oh, that's it, we're done, we're wrapping up. Whereas the long-term partnerships allow, I think, any charity to actually know the people, know the business, know what works better for them and what works better for the charity. So having that longevity is vital, I think, for any charity. But yeah, the one-off wins are pretty good as well.
Yeah, obviously one-off donations are always fantastic. Equally for us as a hospice, long-term relationships mean that people know that we are there for them in the future. Lots of people will have never been to the hospice, and it's quite a scary place when you come for the first time, when your loved one might be at their end of the journey. So people who come to the hospice or came to our winter wonder garden and visited us, who come and have a look round, who come and have a coffee in our cafes, they see the facilities long before any loved one will ever need them, and that's the most important thing. So people know that we are there to access long before they need us at that point. So by the time they do, it's not a scary place, and it's somewhere where they know they will come and they will be wrapped. They'll have a warm blanket wrapped around by everyone, from facilities to housekeeping to our catering team. And then by the time they get to our care team, they already feel loved and cared for, and that's the biggest thing for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I suppose, and bringing it back to this ideas or this brainstorming day that we're having, what sort of ideas, or if Rotherham Day became, well, hopefully becomes an annual thing, what do you think that could potentially unlock?
I think for any charity, it's just further opening that network of people that know that we are here and what we do. I mean, you can, probably everyone's heard of Bluebell Wood, but doesn't actually quite understand what we actually do. We're not just end of life, we're not just palliative care, we're a whole holistic package. Just having a wider network to be able to spread that word to is incredible, especially with school children. We always say that it's brilliant that local kids help local kids. So being able to open up that network for Bluebell would be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, the same. Just being more visible and being proud of where we're from. I'm from Kimberworth. I think it's the centre of the universe as well. So yeah, thank you. Being able to be proud of Rotherham, and I don't think as Rotherham we ever shout loud enough about the good stuff. So being able to have a day where we are shouting so loud about that, which incorporates amazing charities, to get the visibility out there is just going to be huge for the town.
Yeah, for us it's pride and community. Both Bluebell Wood, because I've worked at Bluebell, and Rotherham Hospice have all been started by the community and by volunteers who started fundraising Bluebell, I think 17, 18 years ago. In fact, not 25 years ago, 30 odd years ago, before either hospice even had a brick laid. There were people out there in the community giving talks, giving time up to raise money for the better of the good. And that's what Rotherham Day needs to be about. It needs to be about being proud of Rotherham, coming together as a community and doing some great stuff. Rotherham Hospice, Bluebell Wood Hospice, we are here because of people out there raising money for us. We can't raise we have to raise £6 million out of our 10. That cannot come from one place. It comes from everyone coming together. I always say it's a bit like a jigsaw, and everyone brings their own piece and it forms a perfect picture. And that's what you guys are going to do, and that's what Rotherham Day needs to be. So thank you.
Fantastic. I think probably to summarise the general themes that, the stronger business, the stronger collaboration, if I can get the words out. Ultimately, stronger charity, stronger community, stronger support for you all. Obviously, that's just the a common theme that I'm picking up there. I wanted to say thank you so much. It's not easy doing a Q&A and standing on stage and me looking at you doing that. So I genuinely just want to say thank you ever so much to all three of you.
You needed your jacket on.
Oh, yeah, I didn't have a red one, unfortunately. Otherwise,
And I've got it on the text how much Phil's going to give to get rid of that jacket, so I'll be following him later.
Well, we'll have a sacrificial burning at some point, I'm sure. No, genuinely, thank you ever so much to all three of you. That's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've had some great ideas coming back, which is fantastic. Now I'm going to introduce you to David Walker, who's going to come up and take us through. I think it's unbelievable. I'll leave it to you.
Thank you. So, I'm David Walker. I work on a national project called the School Games, and what we always do when I get to a conference or some networking event is we do a little bit of physical activity. So I've asked a couple of people, will this go down well? It's a mixed bag, so we're going to go for it and see what happens, okay? So if you want to participate and you are able to do so, can you just stand behind your chair, please? Show of hands if you ever had a Nokia 3210 and played the game Snake. Yeah, awesome. So we're going to play rock, paper, scissors, snake. Go on and play rock, paper, scissors. Let's learn and discover. Off you go. Let's create some snake.
Oh, we did. You can call it if you want. Okay, rock, paper, scissors,
How do we do that snake? There we go. Tyler's boys are on the roll. Tyler's legs are on the roll. You the winner? Yay! Well done. School Games project's been around since 2011. I've worked in school games since then. I work for a multi-academy trust, Winchester Partnership Trust, but however I do get to work across the borough, so I know lots of key partners in the room today. The mission of the School Games is tackling inequalities, which we've obviously got lots of in Rotherham, collaboration and wider school impact. So kind of everything that this Rotherham Day is hopefully going to incorporate, that is what the School Games is. What we do at a school level is we are trying to engage all children in any level of physical activity appropriate for them. It's not just your elitist, it is for everyone. We've got pathways for SEND, for those that are just getting into sport, and we're linking with weird and wonderful people doing lots of different things. Yes, we do football, yes, we do rugby, yes, we do hockey, but we're doing parkour, we're doing skipping, we do lots of running interventions, multi-sports for SEND. There's one going on right now. I had to leave 22 schools in the primary academy who brought some SEND children to take part in a panathlon. But why I'm stood here today is, obviously Rotherham last year was selected or applied to be the Children's Cup of Culture, and we got involved in that from a sport and physical activity capacity. So we sat in a meeting, key partners in the room with Yorkshire Sport Foundation, Rachel and the team from the council, and we're coming up with ideas. Now we always do a festival of sport at Henrythorpe anyway, so the idea was that was going to be branded yellow, we're all going to be Children's Cup of Culture. One of our colleagues from Yorkshire Sport Foundation, Charlotte, came up with an idea to do a baton relay. And that baton, hopefully, as Scott is showing on display now, will travel between any school that signed up, one to the other, and hopefully get as many children engaged across the borough as possible. So the story of the baton is getting passed around. It was designed by the children at Brinsworth Manor Primary School, so an assembly was delivered, talking about Rotherham, why we are proud to be Rotherham, and again, I don't know if anyone saw the Children's Cup of Culture video, it was great around being proud of being from Rotherham. So as you can see there, the winning design was chosen from a youth panel. The baton was created by 70 aluminium cans. So the relay took place over 9 days. It took us 9 days. We had huge interest from schools. So we had 88 schools originally signed up. 6 unfortunately dropped out. I think in the boroughs around 120. So not bad in terms of uptake. 328 children physically ran the baton with us and a team from the council and Yorkshire Sport in between the schools. Okay. However, the impact was much bigger. There was around 17,500 children involved, whether that was in their playground cheering us on, whether that was designing bunting, we had medal design, lots of wonderful things. And I'm told this is a good start, that it ticked every ward in the borough. There's obviously a little bit of a map there, that shows you kind of the route. We obviously planned it out. I think, Rachel, if I'm right, we probably did around, how many miles, 10, 12 miles a day, potentially?
Yeah, we did 82 miles in total.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was only a small team from Yorkshire Sport, from Sport Development in the Council, and my school games team. I believe I ran potentially 50 of those miles and ended up with sciatica for 6 months following, so I've not run since. There is a video on YouTube that kind of shows the baton, and this photo even just now was at Thorpe Primary School. That was one of the children coming back into their school. So we met up at Keppel's Column, they received the baton from there and then finished at their school. I think John touched on it earlier, but what we tried to do was incorporate all these amazing landmarks we've got. So we went to Boston Castle, we went to Keppel's Column, we went to the New York Stadium. I'm sure there's lots of things I've missed, but we were taking children to something close and local to them. So the outcome, so after 82 miles in 9 days, the relay finished with the celebration at Rotherham Festival of Sport. As you can see in the photo there, and those over here that can't, Ed Clancy ended up finishing the baton relay, so Hernthorpe Juniors passed the baton on to Ed Clancy. He did a lap, it was on Lug North. The wider impact is we won a School Games Impact Award for one term. We're actually up for the National Award in June, so it's unheard of anyone this north gets nominated for these national awards, so we've not done too bad there. But in terms of the South, do a little clap there, thanks James. In terms of South Yorkshire as a whole, there's 10 school games organised in South Yorkshire. Me and my colleague Ross make up 2 of those 10. Nationally, there's 450. Last academic year, me and Ross were in the top 10 for engagement and participation with schools. Okay, so that shows you the level of engagement we have across the borough. These are some of the quotes. I'll not read them all out, but the ones that obviously are relevant to why I'm stood here today. There's been speculating, asking about a repeat of the event. I've been left with thinking of ideas about how multi-schools can do this. There was another one around kind of the legacy, anything you've got planned for the future. So I guess that comes into why I'm stood here today. Can we then incorporate some baton relay but within school? So yes, it was great 300 odd children ran with the baton, 17,000 didn't. So can we flip that on its head? Can we get the school children in the schools running that baton around their playground? If we create the format, they potentially will contribute towards a Rotherham total, and every school will top that up and keep a track of it as we go along. But I'm glad to be in the room because proud of him from Rotherham, proud of what we achieved through the school games. The school baton relay is a very small snippet of that. All right, we do lots of fantastic work to break down the barriers. I work with groups of leaders in secondary schools in particular that goes into what Phill said. They haven't got ambition, they don't think they amount to much. Putting them on a leadership pathway where they get to come out and support primary school events is the only thing they succeed in. But they didn't know it was on offer until I go in and talk to them about it, because they're not doing well in maths, they're not doing well in English, they're not doing well in science. But give them something that they actually are interested in, and a bit of responsibility around leadership, and they thrive. And talking about careers and pathways. I don't know how I'm stood in front of you guys today. I don't know how I've worked in sport development for 15 years. I don't know how people keep inviting me to meetings. So I'm just that little boy from Wixley/Sunnyside that never thought it'd amount to much, okay? And this is where we're at today. So the target is obviously 100 plus schools in terms of engagement if we're doing it on the school grounds. We've got the legs. I'm sure the school leaders in the room today will snap this up. It's just in terms of planning. It'd be great to link that with the fundraising. We can already build that into our workforce and our capacity anyway. So the thing that we do well is it's all around that passion and that effort and that commitment. And we're used to doing that with little to no money whatsoever anyway. So if anyone wants to give me something, that'd be great too. Cool, so that is a bit of a snapshot of what the baton was, what it is and what I do. I don't know if you want to ask me any questions, or if anyone in the room wants to ask me any questions. I'm just aware this is my last slide.
Are you looking at doing that next year?
So September, 2026, with obviously linking with the Rotherham Day that Scott and the team's got planned.
This is all about you lot. We can all put ideas on the stage, but when we walk away from here today, tomorrow, and we think about it, this is where we're going to go to you. Look, what's your idea? What do you want to do? How do you want to deliver it? And that's where we'll have your participation around. That works, that doesn't work. It's all about Rotherham and building Rotherham. And it's not just one or two people, it's asking as many of you as possible to get involved.
Because this is a place, in my opinion, in my biased opinion, that I would want to raise my family. I would want to be involved in the community because of the people in the room right now. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Anthony. That was brilliant. I suppose so. Just moving on. I'd like to think there's a bit of a common theme that's come across from today, and it's really around how we make things happen. Now, we talk about making things happen, we talk about red tape, we talk about everything else, but the reality of it is, you know, John alluded to earlier, 19 days ago we had an idea, and already things like the baton relay and what we're going to do there are already taking shape, just to sort of move on around what we've already got in the pipeline. So, you know, John alluded to it earlier, we're looking at painting the town red. There's discussions around sort of lighting the minstrel red, creating a bit of atmosphere, a bit of theatre around there. There's a music event in Wickersley that John stole me thunder again with. There's a baton relay. We're discussing of sort of a school's red day, which we'd love to get participation from each school in the borough around sort of how we do that, how everybody wears red, how even businesses wear red, how we can incorporate just creating that initial pride in the room. Is it red tea parties? John's twisting some arms at Chantry Brewery about a red ale, John?
Yeah, a red ale, they're going to come on board with it and put something on. Mick Warburton, who always supports me with the hospice as well, but he's going to come on board with that. Already, I think St Bernard's was on about doing a book, weren't we, with the Year 6, so great idea, another great idea there for the pupils to take part in that. So yeah, anything that can put a bit of pride into this town.
Spread the word. So, you know, it's fantastic that we've got a room full of people here today, but as we look at the roadmap and what we want to try and achieve over time, you know, heading up to the event in September, you know, ideally by June, it'd be great to have a follow-up meeting where, you know, we double, triple the attendance. This room's too small, we try and get everybody together, and then we have a real sort of event around actually some physical foundations of what's going on. So, I suppose just to sort of summarise, it's about making the connections today, putting the challenge in today, how we push it forward from there. I don't know if, John, you want to add anything, Scott, you want to add anything?
No, I think, Jeanette, how many weeks have we got now? You told us 28 weeks we've got. We've done this in 19 days. Please don't go away from here and just shelve it and think, yeah, it was a great idea, but go home, make it happen. As I say, even if you just put a ribbon on your car that day, anything, wear a red tie, wear a scarf and be proud, and get into the town centre and have a walk round at these landmarks I mentioned earlier. You know, the chapel on the bridge, the minster, fantastic buildings and the history to it. You know, we're all passionate, that's why we're all here, so please don't just go home and chuck it on a shelf and say, yeah, great idea that, good luck, or what have you. Let's make it happen.
We want to put you all on the map, and we can only put you on the map if we can get you in front of the camera and we can share your story and what it's about. We didn't know about the 100 hours, that's brilliant. If we can share that stuff, people will pick up on it. So from me, share the news, push the socials, have photos in front of this banner or whatever banner we've got, and talk about it and get more people interested. But yeah, this is all about you guys and your charities or your businesses, and I want it all to work together. And to do that, we all have to come together as a collective on it.
Just in summary, I wanted to say a huge thank you all for giving up your time for coming today. Thank you to everybody that's helped support, put this event on, you know, to Elio, to the club, to everybody that ultimately has done this sort of free of charge and has not asked for anything. There's a real community spirit that's already built in just sort of putting this event on today and having your attendance and your time out of work and everything that's gone on from that. So there's just a massive thank you from all of us.
Let's paint the town red. Come on, let's get it going.